Alright, you guys. Welcome to the Arrow After Show, where we talk about each week's episode of Arrow. I talk about my positives and negatives. Today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 13, entitled Canaries. And let's jump into the positives here. First off, Malcolm is basically, it starts off we seeing, Sarah versus Laurel. Canary versus Black Canary. And I'm like, alright, this episode's going to be badass. I've been waiting for this episode for a while. And yeah, that scene was pretty kick-ass. And then it goes, 48 hours earlier. I'm like, I knew it. I knew they were going to do that. But anyway, Malcolm goes to the Arrow Cave. And he suggests that it's time for Thea to learn the truth. And, there's the whole thing where Oliver's kind of conflicted for a minute, because Diggle's telling him not to do it. He's like, don't tell Thea your secret, and so he's kind of like, well, who am I gonna really listen to? I mean, should I tell Thea or shouldn't I don't know. I like the little bit of confliction there, but pretty quickly he makes up his mind. He takes Thea down to the Arrow Cave, and Thea learns Oliver's secret. That was awesome. But what made it more awesome, she was proud. She was happy. I did not expect that reaction at all. I figured she would be pissed because Oliver's been lying to her for the past 3 years. I figured she was going to go apeshit on him. No, she was proud, and I like that, because it's a step on, them getting closer, and it shows that Thea has definitely matured, quickly than we thought she would have. I did not expect that reaction out of her, so that's why that's in my positives. Oliver goes to Laurel and tells her that basically she has a problem. Oliver tells Laurel, he's like, look, just like your booze and drug addiction that you had, this is also an addiction that will endanger your life. And Oliver was straight up and told her, I mean, we've heard Oliver saying, look, I don't want you fighting. But to tell her, bring up the whole booze and drug addiction that she had, that was pretty nice, It kind of made me think a little bit. And I'm not even in the Canary outfit. I'm supporting Arrow gear here. And then Laurel, we see that Laurel's pretty weak in this episode, and I'm like, alright, she's got a lot of stuff on her mind, she's stressed out, she's not going to be the best fighter yet, she's just starting out. I like seeing Laurel weak when it comes to fighting. I like seeing her like that, because, Oliver was the same way when he was starting out. He was weak, he was getting his ass kicked a lot, and over time, he became a badass. I want the same thing to happen to Laurel. I don't want her to become a badass overnight. I want it, over months, maybe even a couple years, take for her to be a badass. I want to see that go a little while. And then, of course, we get to Sarah versus Laurel. Laurel is on Vertigo, because Count Vertigo's back in this one. Not the old Count Vertigo, which I really liked the first Count a lot better than the one we have now. But the one that was in, I believe, the first episode of this season, entitled The Calm, I think that was the episode Count Vertigo, the new Count Vertigo. And, there's that whole fight. Laurel's on Vertigo, and she's fighting her sister, and her sister's like, I died when I didn't have to, and you're sitting here trying to be me, and it's pissing me off, and it's just getting to Laurel's head. And let's just talk about the fight. The fight was awesome. That was awesome. I really like that fight a lot. And then Roy and Oliver are kind of arguing about the fact that Thea is in the cave after Laurel gets her ass beat. They take Laurel to the Arrow Cave. Thea's there. She learns that everybody else knew. And Roy and Oliver are kind of having a macho, who's the leader now kind of argument. And Felicity just speaks up and she goes, look, Oliver, you were gone. This is the way we had to go. Like, this is what we had to do to keep everybody safe. And Oliver's like, well, yeah, well, I'm back now. And Felicity goes, well, it doesn't matter. This is what we've done, and this is what we're gonna continue to do. You can just, you're gonna have to accept that. I like the fact that she was kind of the voice of reason in this episode, when usually it's Diggle. Um, but Diggle hasn't been doing that much lately. Like, he hasn't been the voice of reason too much lately. I kind of miss that. I do like that Felicity has stepped up, but um, and then in the Hong Kong flashbacks, Maseo tells Oliver that they're leaving for Shanghai, and he goes to tell Oliver to call his family, and then Oliver's captured by Amanda Waller, and Amanda Waller goes, where'd they go? Oliver's like, they went to Shanghai. Well, you find out later that, Maseo lied about going to Shanghai. He's kind of a genius. Maseo is a genius, even in Hong Kong. And, he was smart and he had a plan, and I like that. I like seeing that side of Maseo. Hopefully we get to see more of him being a great genius. And then Felicity tells Laurel probably the best advice she has ever gotten about this whole Black Canary situation. She goes, look, stop trying to be your sister, just be yourself, alright? Quit pretending to be Sarah and be you. And I'm like, alright, even though I don't like Laurel as the Black Canary right now, I will say that was some damn good advice, and I think that if Laurel uses that advice, to better her skills and stuff like that, because she doesn't have mad skills yet. But if she uses that, I think I would probably like it a lot better, or at least I can tolerate it. We'll see where that's going to go. But Felicity, again, voice of reason, best advice that Laurel has gotten about the whole Black Canary situation. And there's a moment where I like to call him, I don't know his name, I've seen him in a few episodes now, and I don't remember his name. I just call him DJ Assassin. He is the DJ who is working for Thea now, and they're kind of getting a little romantic. And we found out that he's in the League of Assassins, or the League of Shadows, or whatever you want to call it. In Arrow, it's League of Assassins. So I call him DJ Assassin. He's in Thea's place, and and then all of a sudden, she learns the truth about him, and Team Arrow shows up. This includes Roy, Oliver, even Malcolm Merlin comes in, and they have that whole fight with him. That was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, DJ Assassin did kick a little ass, but not enough for Team Arrow. And then Laurel gets her second dose of vertigo in this episode. And she gets to fight Sarah again. And yeah, Anyway, that was kind of awkward. I don't know where I was going with that. But that was my positives. Finally! I've been waiting for this for 12 episodes now. Laurel finally goes to tell Lance about Sarah. And she starts off, and Lance just goes, well, look, I already know. I'm like, wait, you already know? Sin only told you that wasn't Sarah in last week's episode. He goes, I know. Sarah's, off doing her own thing, and you're in her costume. I'm like, oh, boy. But Laurel pretty much does tell Lance that Sarah's gone, and I'm not gonna lie, I teared up. I did. Someone brought out the onions during that scene because tears were coming out of my eyes because of the onions. That scene was so well done. Amazing performance by Paul Blackthorne, and I like Katie Cassidy as an actress. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Katie Cassidy. I actually really, really like Katie Cassidy a lot. But we haven't seen her do too many emotional scenes where I actually bought it. This one was one that I bought and I actually liked, and it showed me that, okay, Katie Cassidy still has good acting chops, so, yeah. I'm glad that Lance finally found out about Sarah. Good God, that took long enough. And then Malcolm Merlin decides Oliver and Thea need to go to the island to train for their fight for Ra's al Ghul, because Malcolm Merlin's going to be the one to train Oliver and Thea to fight Ra's al Ghul. because that makes sense. Oliver needs to be trained by someone who's in the League of Assassins, Malcolm Merlin. But he sends him to the island. What was it called? Leon Yu. Leon Yu, I believe, was the name of the island. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section. But he sends them to the island to train. And I like that Thea's there. She gets to build up her training again. Oliver gets to kind of protect her on the island because he knows what the island could bring. And, or at least he thinks he does. But anyway, I'll talk about that. Probably next week's after show, most likely. I just know from the promo and stuff. But anyway, I tweeted something. I'm like, Oliver should, build his own resort there, because of how many times he's on that frickin' island. And then, at the end of the episode, we go back to the Hong Kong flashbacks, and we see that Amanda Waller is taking Oliver somewhere, and he's not in Hong Kong anymore. I'm like, okay, where is this going now? He's in Starling City in flashbacks. I'm like, how the fuck is this gonna work? How does anyone, Tommy, Laurel, Thea, Moira, anybody, how do they not know that Oliver is back? Like, what is going to happen that's going to keep him so well hidden? I can't wait for that, but that kind of surprised me that he's going into Starling in the flashbacks. So yeah. And my negatives, I only have one negative this week. Even though Maseo told him to do it, Oliver tries to phone home in the Hong Kong flashbacks. I don't like this. Even though Maseo told him to do it, I'm like, well, Oliver, didn't you kind of learn your lesson the first time about trying to phone home? Didn't he try to email his mom or somebody when he first woke up in Hong Kong? And he's like, I'm on the island. He got stopped. He got his ass kicked for a minute, a little bit. I'm like, I thought you learned your lesson, but apparently you didn't. Even though Maseo told him to do it. But other than that, I have no negatives for this episode. It was a really good episode. I liked it a lot. Did you guys see Season 3, Episode 13, entitled Canaries? If so, what did you guys think about it? What do you hope to see in next week's episode? Because I believe next week's episode is called The Return. And we know it doesn't refer to Oliver. Who could it refer to? If you saw last week's promo, you know who is returning. But if you haven't seen next week's promo, drop your theories down below. Could it be Tommy? Could it be, I don't know, could it be Sarah coming back? Who could it be? Comment down below. I know because of the promo, and if you have seen the promo, you know too. And we're going to end this with an awkward pause. Well, see you later.